It's Friday, May 14th, and this is now on HNN.
No more masks, but only if you're fully vaccinated. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House, where the Biden administration is hoping new guidance will encourage more Americans to get the shot.
Despite the new CDC guidance for fully vaccinated people, Governor Ige decides to keep Hawaii's mask mandate in place. We have the latest on a COVID outbreak on Molokai. These stories, plus Southwest is hiring. The airline plans to double its Hawaii service. We have details and more coming up on This Is Now.
Aloha and happy Aloha Friday to you and yours. Thank you for watching This Is Now. Casey Lunn filling in and getting greater appreciation for what Jonathan Toppy does every day as I'm filling in for him here alongside Ashley Nagaokade. We did just get those coronavirus numbers, right, Ash?
That's right. The State Health Department is reporting 83 new COVID infections today and 1 new fatality. The breakdown by island shows 1 case on the Big Island, 2 on Kauai, 12 on Maui, 1 on Molokai, 64 on Oahu, and 3 residents were diagnosed out of state. Kauai County is independently reporting 1 new infection. Meanwhile, there's a COVID outbreak on Molokai. Right now, there are reports of at least a dozen people getting infected. Lacey Denise has the latest on what's happening on the Friendly Isle.
An outbreak on Molokai now includes at least 12 people. That's according to State House member Lynn DeCoit, who represents the area. 2 of the cases are contract workers at the island's only hospital. Queens Health System says one of the contractors was working in a closed-off area last week at Molokai General Hospital. We're told that person was asymptomatic and infected another worker, but neither of them had contact with hospital patients. DeCoit says another 10 cases have been discovered in the community. Maui County does not require testing to travel between its islands. And despite the current outbreak, DeCoit says she does not want to see that change.
I don't believe that we should restrict at this time. I think this is an incident that we can work with, and I don't think we should pull it back. Numbers are climbing. We're very concerned. And I just want to say that, people need to continue to wear their masks. Wear your mask, keep a 6-foot distance. And of course, I encourage the shots to be taken. Take your COVID shot. What I also do know is that when you start to look around, those that were tested and were tested positive also, they didn't have a COVID shot. Those that were tested with COVID shots were coming back negative. Those that were infected did not have a COVID shot. So it goes to show that, the shots are working. Vaccinate. Don't let your guard down.
The workers who tested positive are currently in quarantine on Molokai. For This Is Now, I'm Lacey Denise.
The state continues its push to get people between the ages of 12 and 15 vaccinated. Billy V reports from Waianae High School.
We're talking story today with a couple of students from Waianae High School. Of course, we're here in the cafeteria as they get ready for vaccinations. Rain Judd is a senior. Colina Pereira Alimut is a junior. Good morning, ladies. Rain, first of all, how do you feel about getting your vaccination today?
I'm excited for getting my vaccine today. I'm excited for everything to go back to normal. And I'm excited to encourage my fellow classmates to get their vaccine.
Is your family also already vaccinated?
Most of them are. Hopefully, all of them will be soon.
Okay. What do you miss the most?
I miss being able to live a normal life. I miss being able to do school. I missed my senior year, but hopefully everything will get better when everybody gets vaccinated.
All right. Thank you very much. Colina is a junior. So are you looking forward to a change in your senior year?
Yes, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back into the classrooms and having all the senior activities like senior luau and graduation.
Wow. So are you nervous about getting vaccinated today?
No, I mean, I've had people in my family that taken it and they had no reaction, so I'm pretty confident in taking it today.
Okay. How do your classmates feel about getting vaccinated? Is there much talk amongst your friends?
Yes, a lot of them don't want to do it because they're scared of the reaction, but they said as time goes on and they see the results, then they're more willing to try it.
Okay. What's been the talk around your circles? Have they been nervous, or what are their thoughts about vaccination?
The senior class, we've been pretty okay with it. I don't know about other, the classes, but yeah, so far, all I know, my friends, they're pretty okay with getting the vaccine.
And as they see your life returning to normal, you're hoping that they see what you did and go and do the same thing?
Yeah, I hope they agree to get it so we can get everything back to normal.
All right, once again, a couple of students here at Waianae High School as they get ready. Vaccinations began at 8 o'clock this morning, and they will continue throughout the day. And also a reminder, Waianae Coast Comprehensive Center also is open for walk-ins. From the west side, I'm Billy V. Let's get you back into the studio.
Coming up on our later newscast, our Sammy Solina visits the IHS Summer Men's Shelter. Last year, they were the ones that had a big outbreak over the summer and even lost a staff member to COVID-19. They're now doing tests and vaccinating folks. So far, their shelters have vaccinated 300 of their guests.
I'm feeling pretty good. I came for my second Moderna shot today. It feels a lot better because, there's options out there. You don't have to be so afraid of having COVID. There are ways to ensure that you're safe yourself. So, anyone that hasn't done it, go out there and get it. I mean, it's just like being on the street or catching a flu. You know what I mean? You never know what you get until you go through it. So, just stay positive, go forward, and save your own life.
Hawaii's 40% vaccination rate is the 8th highest among states. With new variants in the mix, health experts say herd immunity likely won't happen until 80 to 90% of the population is fully vaccinated. But state officials say the numbers are just a rough guess. The goal is really to slow down transmission rates.
It's one of those frustrating questions where we'll kind of know it when we get there. But I do believe we're getting close.
I would say that cluster report a week ago has been updated. It will be updated today, and we are seeing no further growth of any of those clusters.
Lieutenant Governor Josh Green says he believes the state will hit herd immunity when we hit 2 million vaccinations. We're currently about 660,000 away from that goal.
The Biden administration is hoping its new guidelines surrounding masks and social distancing will encourage more Americans to get vaccinated. Skylar Henry reports from the White House.
For many, the CDC's new guidance on mask wearing for vaccinated people is a breath of fresh air.
It's so freeing, especially coming right when the weather's getting nice and warm. It's perfect.
Under the new recommendations, fully vaccinated Americans no longer need to wear masks or socially distance indoors or outdoors, except on airlines, public transportation, and in hospitals, doctors' offices, nursing homes, prisons, and homeless shelters. The head of the CDC tells CBS News the declining number of new coronavirus cases and effective vaccines factored into the decision.
If you're vaccinated, you're safe and protected from getting COVID-19, and you really have a very low risk of transmitting to other people.
At a Rose Garden event Thursday, President Biden stressed unvaccinated individuals who can still spread the virus must still wear masks.
Get vaccinated or wear a mask until you do.
It's still largely up to states, cities, and individual businesses to change their mask requirements. Many states have said they will review the CDC's new guidance before lifting any restrictions. The updated recommendations came the same day the New York Yankees announced its shortstop has become the first player and 8th member of the team's staff to test positive for the virus after being fully vaccinated. The CDC says cases like those have a low risk of disease transmission.
What we're seeing about those infections is that they tend to have a lower amount of virus. They tend to be asymptomatic. They tend to be mild. And we believe that lower amount of virus really means that they can't give it to anybody else.
6 of the staff members and coaches who tested positive are asymptomatic and are in quarantine. Skylar Henry, CBS News.
Here at home, Governor Ige says he's not ready to take the CDC's advice, and that decision is being met with some pushback. Ben Gutierrez has more.
Well, Governor Ige says he is reviewing the latest CDC guidance, but for now, he's not changing his mask mandate. For one, Ige says he's worried that with only 40% of Hawaii's population vaccinated, enforcement would be virtually impossible.
We are unable to determine who is vaccinated and who is not vaccinated. And therefore, as the guidance had suggested, the best mitigation measure is for everyone to wear a mask.
The governor would like to see a majority of residents vaccinated before relaxing the mask mandates. But Lieutenant Governor Josh Green sides with the CDC.
If you are fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask outdoors. You do need to wear a mask if you're in certain settings, like at the hospital or on an airplane or on a bus. But if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear it outdoors.
And U.S. Senator Brian Schatz has written the governor a letter urging him to restart surf and canoe paddling competitions and to allow parents to cheer on their kids at sporting events.
We should follow the science, and the science strongly indicates that there is zero risk in being outside, socially distanced, watching your kids surf or play baseball.
So, who to follow?
If the CDC says something, does that mean that it's a federal mandate, or does that mean that the states still have the discretion to, give you a penalty or a fine?
A UH law professor says while people would like to throw away the masks, the governor still has the authority to mandate them.
Because what the CDC actually said was no masks unless, and the unless included your state still requires them.
The mixed messages add to the confusion over masks, especially outdoors, where state law says you don't have to wear them if you are 6 feet from others. Marsha Kapu and her son entertain visitors at the Barefoot Beach Cafe at Queens Beach. She agrees with the governor to keep the masks on for now.
We were fortunate to have 2 gigs that are outdoors. And they are very good about distancing and such as like that too. But there are a lot of people too that come up a little close too.
Governor Ige says he's not comfortable with lifting the mask mandate until 70 to 80% of the community is fully vaccinated. And he says he would consider the changes for sporting events, but has offered no timeline. Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
A new study suggests the majority of children infected with COVID-19 do not show the typical symptoms. The researchers examined data from more than 12,000 children with COVID-19. They found that only 18% had fever, muscle or joint pain, and issues with their sense of smell or taste. Also, 16% who had respiratory symptoms such as cough and shortness of breath, and just 14% showed gastrointestinal symptoms. A little over 5% were hospitalized, and among those, 17% required critical care services.
The fighting between Israelis and Palestinians is getting worse as the death toll tops 120. The Israeli military is now using ground forces. Until now, they've been attacking Gaza through airstrikes. It's unclear if Israel is planning a ground invasion against Hamas, which is the militant group that controls Gaza. They have been fighting since Monday after weeks of heightened tension over land and religion. Still no arrests after a homeless man was set on fire while he was sleeping. Surveillance cameras captured images of the suspect just after 3 a.m. Wednesday near Fort Street downtown. HPD sources say he threw a Molotov cocktail at the victim, then returned 3 hours later wearing different clothes. This time he was carrying a large cup in one hand and a blowtorch in the other.
Every day we see homeless people as victims of crimes, and most of that doesn't go reported. It doesn't go reported because people feel like they're not going to be heard.
We've learned HPD has more surveillance video but hasn't released it and hasn't provided the public with any specific information about the crime. The identity of the victim also hasn't been released, but we've learned he's in the critical care unit at Straub.
Southwest Airlines is hiring on 4 islands. The airline company has 319 employees here in Hawaii but needs 100 more, from ramp workers to customer service agents in Lihue, Honolulu, Kahului, Kona, and Hilo. Southwest yesterday announced plans to double its Hawaii service by adding flights from Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Phoenix, and San Diego. The new flights to Honolulu start in 3 weeks. Neighbor island flights will be added a couple weeks after that.
It actually brings an opportunity for more tourists to come here. The load factor rising. With that, we'll get more folks in. And, as more competition comes, hopefully the prices will stabilize. Some of the airfares were lower, and then it went really, really high. I looked just to go to California. The least expensive ticket last week was about $800 and something. So that, it's very high.
The 5th richest person in the world now owns another 600 acres on Kauai. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook CEO, and his wife now own more than 1,300 acres in Kilauea. Sammy Solina reports from the Garden Isle.
Now, up here, we have about 18 acres of noni trees up here.
Steve Fraley runs Hawaiian Organic Noni.
Fruits and vegetables, no pesticides, herbicides, chemical fertilizers.
He's raised thousands of noni trees on his 70-acre family farm near Larson's Beach on Kauai's North Shore. He's also the Facebook CEO's new next-door neighbor, who now owns the land west of Larson Beach Road.
I love it, actually.
The new addition cost them $53 million. It's next to the 750 acres Zuckerberg and Chan acquired in 2014 for $100 million. In 2016, in an attempt to secure the privacy of his property, Zuckerberg arranged quiet title lawsuits and forced Kuleana landowners to sell their properties to him. He dropped those lawsuits after community backlash. He also built a wall that stirred up controversy as well. But it seems his reputation has come a long way.
I like to say that the people of Kauai have benefited from the Zuckerberg's generosity during this COVID-19 crisis. They contributed significantly to our Rise to Work program.
Kauai Mayor Derek Kawakami said that his presence has been positive. State Representative Nadine Nakamura agrees.
No, I think the good thing is that in purchasing the 600 acres, that they are going to continue the legacy of Waioli Corporation and continue the cattle ranching that's taking place on these lands.
To buy the land, Zuckerberg and Chan followed the terms set by the prior owner, the nonprofit Waioli Corporation, which included preserving agriculture, protecting native species, and the natural beauty. Fraley faced the same scrutiny when he bought from Waioli.
And I said, look, I'll buy this from you. But they came out to see who I was, what I was doing.
But anytime a billionaire buys up lots of land, there's concern that there's less opportunities for locals.
Well, I will say whenever we have big tracts of land change hands, it's a little unsettling. It's been a big pattern on our island to have a lot of purchases be happening swiftly and fast by quite a bit of wealth, so that's a little difficult.
One of the concerns folks had was whether or not they could still access Larson's Beach, but the county said that shouldn't be an issue because they still own the roads leading to it. So there's a promise for accessibility and conservation.
From my personal experience, being his neighbor now for many, many years, I really appreciate what they do and how they're protecting the land.
They believe the property is in good hands and will remain that way for years to come.
Here's a better one up in here.
Sammy Solina, Hawaii News Now.
All right, let's take you live outside now for a look towards Honolulu Harbor. Happy Aloha Friday, everyone, or in Casey's instance, happy Wednesday since he works weekends. So
Beautiful. Aloha Friday, though. I'm still celebrating.
Yeah, so let's see what the weekend forecast has in store for you guys. Here's Guy Hagi.
How's it on this Friday? Get ready for a nice long stretch of trade wind weather. And that does include some upstream moisture, which will be moving in with the trade wind flow, bringing in some light scattered showers like what we have this morning. But the deal is, with those breezy winds, whatever rain comes in will be moving along rather quickly. That limits the rainfall buildup. Flooding is not an issue. So if you get caught in a brief downpour, that's the thing. It's going to be brief. It won't amount to very much, and it will move along rather quickly. Lots of leeward sunshine expected. High temperatures running into the middle 80s. Out in the ocean, the fun-sized surf continues to roll into the south shores with reinforcements probably through the weekend. Nothing big, but some fun-sized waves for sure. And still going to be rough and choppy, and the trade wind swell expected to pick up because of the increasing trade winds. Now, those winds will be running stiff all the way into next week, but that assures us of very comfortable conditions. And don't forget, even though we are expecting a lot of sunshine, we'll get those passing showers from time to time, favoring those windward neighborhoods. We'll have more details on air and online.
Thank you, Guy. Now, this is a really cool story, you guys. An aerial experience is about to take flight. It's called Wings Over Pearl, and it's a ride in a historic fighter jet. Jim Mendoza has the story.
Starting next week, get used to seeing this restored World War II aircraft flying over sites on Oahu that were attacked on December 7, 1941. The experience for paying passengers is called Wings Over Pearl.
We are not giving tours of Oahu. That's for the helicopter guys to show you the waterfalls and such of that. We're giving historical flight experiences in a P-51 Mustang.
Erickson Aircraft Collection owns the airplane. It arrived in March of 2020 to begin flights, but COVID hit.
We made that commitment and left the airplane here for an entire year.
Aside from occasional proficiency flights, the P-51 has been sitting in this hangar, grounded by the pandemic. Erickson stuck it out because it believes the P-51 perfectly fits within the story of Pearl Harbor.
This is where World War II started, and this is the airplane that finished World War II.
The P-51 Mustang is the most famous fighter plane from World War II. This was one of the last to roll off the assembly line.
It's painted as a red tail aircraft, which were flown by the Tuskegee Airmen, who were the first African-American fighter pilots.
Erickson is based in Central Oregon and boasts an impressive collection of World War II aircraft. Rides on the P-51 range from $1,500 to $3,000.
The airplane's very expensive to operate. It costs about $4,000 an hour to fly the airplane.
Now that Wings Over Pearl is finally getting off the ground, aircraft enthusiasts are reserving their seats for a once-in-a-lifetime flight.
You've never been in anything like it in your life.
Jim Mendoza, Hawaii News Now.
So Ash,
Yeah.
are you signing up?
Oh, I would love to do that. It looks so fun.
I heard some of the producers say, "No way would I go up in an airplane that old." A lot of people wouldn't. They're just like they think it because it's older than a lot of our parents. They're scared of it, but they're lovingly maintained.
Yeah.
Let's check out what the internet is talking about today. You know that I'm a sucker for anything eruption lava related, covering the Kilauea eruption.
Yep.
But in Guatemala, people watched as lava flowed from the Pacaya volcano, the volcano one of the most active in the country's 38 volcanoes, and has been steadily active since the beginning of this year with 2 strong explosions at the end of March. The fissure vent on the northwest flank is producing lava fountains about 50 to 100 meters tall. It's so wonderful to see. I mean, destruction though too, and a lot of the folks that live there are obviously concerned. Locals do say that the eruption is threatening their homes, so keep an eye on that in the international world realm.
Here at home, if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, maybe go check out the Bishop Museum. Inside the Castle Memorial Building, you'll see vibrant murals and hundreds of original artwork lining the walls. It's all part of Powwow's 10th anniversary celebration. Now, organizers say the exhibit, which opens to the public tomorrow, promises to bring some color and light to people after a year of lockdown and changes due to the pandemic. The exhibit runs from May 15th through September 19th.
And one other thing that we saw on the feeds, Elon Musk may be bringing a rocket here to
so the
Hawaii?
SpaceX founder, he plans to test flight his new rocket, and it includes a splashdown near Hawaii. So it's part of the company's first ever orbital launch. The Starship rocket will take off from Texas in July, then orbit the Earth for about 90 minutes. Afterwards, it will make a soft ocean landing about 62 miles off Kauai. Now, the Starship rocket is huge, standing about 160 feet tall, so there is a chance you might see it from Kauai's west side. SpaceX plans to use the Starship to launch cargo and people on missions to the moon and Mars.
Now that is something I
That's
want
a
to sign
ride.
up for. Do you think they will ever get, in our generation, a commercial space flight?
Oh yeah, but it's not going to be cheap at first, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think one day it'll be, pretty well.
Yeah,
known.
it'll be something that people can look forward to. Again, it's all kind of experimental though, so it makes you kind of think.
Let some people go first.
Yeah.
Do those test flights.
Thank you so much for joining us on This Is Now. Really great filling in for Jonathan with Ashley, and again, like I said, just an appreciation of how much goes into this show.
He does a lot of work, but he's on a very well-deserved vacation.
Yeah, we're gonna have so much more coming up in our next newscast starting at 4 o'clock with Ashley, 5 and 6, and of course you can find everything online all the time.